Welcome to this look at a returning map to Farming Simulator 19 with me, MrSealyp. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, the Millennial Farmer Map is back by Mappers Paradise and the Subby. A bit of background behind this. When it first came out, I was lucky enough to have early access to the PC version, which I did a map tour on. But Mappers Paradise, the Subby, had messaged me to say it wasn't complete. Obviously the console version would be slightly different, and there would be a few changes. The console version released, and before I got a chance to get on and do the map tour, it was removed from the mod hub. It then bounced backwards and forwards with Giants and Mappers Paradise and Giants and Mappers Paradise. It kept failing testing, and then Blobby Farmer from Mappers Paradise, obviously every map maker, modder out there has a life, has you know, a lot of them have jobs. They're not full-time mappers or mod makers, and all sorts of things happened and it was shelved for a while. Well, it's back. It has got a few changes, so this for me actually is the first console map tour I've done on here, so we'll get on with it. If you're not familiar with the Millennial Farmer, Zach Johnson, farms out of Minnesota. Fantastic channel. I've been following him for years now. And this is the map of his farm. You may have already seen some of the, you may have seen my earlier map tour of this. You may watch his channel, you may be familiar. You may be completely new to this, you may be new to the game, have never encountered this map at all. So, here's the map. That's the main farm. If you come onto your new farmer, what do we start with? Well, we start with the main farm, the farm silo. Yeah, we'll go into that in a minute. The farmhouse, seed tank, field 3, which is huge, and we do actually start with the biogas plant as well. The biogas plant is 405,000 to buy, so if you come onto your own farm manager or start from scratch and you don't own that, that's how much it will cost to buy. We'll go onto the biogas plant when we get round to it. Field prices are up there, but they are massive fields. And the fact you do start with field 3 means you can get quite a bit of crop work done, and on a field that size make a tidy bit of money to help you to then invest and move into buying other things. We are going to do a route around. What's interesting about this map, and quite different to other maps I've encountered, is this northeast corner of the map. Now this has been changed since the previous 2 versions that I've encountered anyway, so we are going to have a look at that. And as far as I can tell as well, the silo has gone through another change as well, because that did get released as a separate mod as well. We'll get onto that too, don't you worry. The main farmhouse is just here. As you can see on the side of the pickup, we've got the Millennial Farmer logo. The sleep trigger for the farmhouse is actually around the back of the deck and is around the back here. You can't access the house. What I really do like about this map, and did from the very first version I got to look at, was how much it is like the real area. You know, it fits very, very well. We will use the pickup, so I'm going to grab that. Now, let's talk about slot count, because it is horrifying. The download for this map is 578.25 megabytes. That will already put some people off. The slot count on New Farmer, wait for it, is 1,151 out of 1,299. I know, but like I said before on map tours, don't turn off yet. If you come onto a farm manager or start from scratch, that drops down to 1,056, because a few of the things we start with you don't start with. That being said, you can get rid of everything you start with, and you can get that down to 610. You can get it down to 610, but that will come with quite a warning. There are no custom crops on this map. There are mods that the map makers have put in. What else? Contracts are available. We'll have a look at what we start with, because that's related to the slot count, and obviously custom mods as well. So if we click onto it and go to garage, I'll scroll back to the start because I was just having a quick look through that. we start with a fair bit of gear, as you can see. John Deere stuff, which is always high on the slot count, but Zach Johnson the Millennial Farmer, who's played by the actor Zach Johnson. They're a John Deere farm. So we've got an 8370 RT, we've got an 8400R, we've got 2 Warriors. Now these are modded. When I've looked at the mods that are available, these are Millennial Warriors. They've got the logo on the side of them as well. We've got a John Deere S790 harvester. We have got a telehandler. We have got some forklifts. Those are elsewhere on the map. We'll get to those. Now these are the same mod, and they're not mods. I don't know why they're same mods, but for some reason that's the same mod. We've got a Millennial Farmer pickup we've just seen. That is obviously modded. Then we've got a wool service vehicle and a store service vehicle. So both of these, one is up at the main store and one is at the wall point. Again, they're same mods. I'm not quite sure why, because they're not. But then we do have Millennial pace setters. We have extra. These are added in as well with the Millennial Farmer logo on the side of them. We've got a Hall Master headers for the John Deere. Then we've got cultivator. We've got a Great Plains seeder. There are a few John Deere ones knocking about now, so if you wanted to go down that route. Fertilizer and herbicide sprayer. We've got the Thunder trailer, although it's not a modded one, but we do have it. Then we move into the stuff which is specific to the map. Now this is where a warning is going to come in. If you remove everything to get that slot count right down to 610, you can remove all of this stuff. I'll show you why there's a warning in a second, but we do have the Millennial cow pasture holds 200. The pig farm area holds 300. That's 39 slots on its own. But again, warning time. Horse corral holds 16. The sheep enclosure designed for the Millennial Farmer map holds 350. We've got a doghouse. We've got a storage silo, a couple of bunker silos, and then we've got the sheds and buildings. So we've got the workshop, shed 2, toy shed. We've got the BGA, selling stations, and then we've got farm decorations. So we've got a few different bits around in various different areas, which again you can remove, but these will come with a warning. Oh yeah, that's a point. Oh, it doesn't matter. And then we've got the Millennial Farmhouse. So it does start with a whole load of stuff. But if we now come off that and have a look at what's actually available, this is where I'm talking about the warning. Because in here, under animal pens, we've only got the horse corral and the sheep enclosure. The pig area and the cow pasture aren't showing in here. So if you remove those, you won't be able to put them back. I'm not sure why they're not there, but they're not. So that's the warning. If you do remove everything to get the slot count as low as you can, you could potentially lose bits that you can't then replace. Under miscellaneous, we've got the compact BGA and the selling station. Decoration, we've got the American style house. Silos is where we've got the bunker silos and the small storage silo. Sheds, we've got the workshop, shed 2 and the Millennial Farm toy shed, which was one of their main sheds, and now it's got all of their kind of snowmobiles and race cars and all the other stuff they use. And then under the farmhouses, we've got the Millennial Farmhouse. So what is also missing from in here, under decoration, are those bits that say in what you have decoration. They're not showing here either to be able to replace them. So that's the warning. Anyway, main sheds and stuff. You can't access these from the outside, but we can from the inside. Now initially these had some issues because the doors wouldn't open and close properly. If I come to here and open up my help menu, got my Satech, Logitech, heavy equipment side panel plugged into my PlayStation. And you see now we've got a whole load of options. So if I press circle, turns first light switch on. Square does the next light switch. Then L3 does the door. So whereas before, you come to a light switch and it's circle for the lights, these wouldn't all work. So now they've got separate functions for each one when you come up to the panels. So the light switches are separate. I like that. That really is very handy. Side door, that should just be circle, but I need to do it from there. There we go. And then these are circle. It's only where you've got a cluster of light switches and stuff together. Then we move into the next one. This should just be circle. There we go. And then light switches over here should be separate. Circle, and square. Turns both sets of lights on here. This is where a lot of the machinery is stored. So a lot of the machinery, we have machinery all over the place. Turn those back off. Side door on this one as well. Then we move into the main workshop. Again, can't open these from the outside, but we can from the inside. One of the lorries in here already. I'm going to have to whiz round later on. There we go. Main door, other main door there. Millennial Farmer normally does those with remotes, which he does tend to lose quite often. And then we've got another one there. And we've got another one around the other side where the harvester is. Now, there are light switches at the other end of the workshop, which are here. Hang on. And then what we have, that one's, where's the other light switch? It's around here, isn't it? There is one somewhere. There we go. Another door being there. Plenty of access in and out of this building. Now, this is important because if we're coming through here into the office, this is where your trigger is for repairing your vehicles. It's in here at the office. So if I press L3 now, the vehicle that's out there in this little bay here is where you do your workshop repair. So there's not like a button out here or the disc floating in the air. It's done from the office. So if we come into the office here, press L3, that's where it's done from. So we'll come out of here. I'm going to leave all the doors and lights on. Don't worry, I'll come and turn those off later. Headers are out here in the grass. Oh, the seed tank, I didn't show that. That's around the back, isn't it? We have a seed tank around the back. There we go. Now, the silos have gone through a few different changes. From the original version I had, then the first release of this, then when it came out as a separate mod, I think it's been changed again. As far as I can tell, it's been changed again. In the real world, there's the grain leg. I have the wet bin, which is this one here, and you have the auger pits. Everything gets dumped into the auger pits. Generally speaking, if it's wet, will go into the wet bin. From the wet bin, it comes up and out and goes through the grain dryers. From the grain dryers, it will then go off to whichever bin it's going to be going to. Now, obviously, that's going to be far too complicated to have working. Now, what happened before, which doesn't seem to be happening now, you would come into the office area here, press enter vehicle, and you would access the dryer control. I can't get that to work now on console. I think that has changed. So if I leave that, but what we can do is come out to here. If we come up to this, and if I press R1, so I come up to the control panel, press R1, and I've got some options. If I press L1, nothing happens. L1, R1, nothing happens. But under R1, you've got load dry silo, you've got load wet silo, unload dry silo, unload wet silo. There's one there that says activate, deactivate, course play mode. Now I think that's a remnant left over from PC. If I press that, that happens. And I have no idea. I can't seem to fathom that anything it does. I honestly don't know. It's very strange that it's there. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, because if maybe someone's had a fiddle around with this since this released on Friday. I was going to message Blobby Farmer, and I've got up early and I didn't want to disturb him early. But yeah, I'm not sure about that. So what I'm going to do is turn that off. But you can't transfer between the bins. So as it stands at the moment, the wet bin is that one. That has one capacity. So what we'll do is have a look in here. So we've got a capacity of 240,000 litres. The one that says silos other in white is the wet bin. The one that says silos owned, which has a much larger capacity, is the other bin. So you can put them into one or the other, but you have to activate them to get them to work. So for example, if I'm going to put into the wet bin, I'm going to put load wet silo. So I do this now, right on my D-pad. That turns that on, which means now I can unload into that pit. Unless I turn that on, this option to start overloading won't appear. You have to activate that pit or the particular bin to get this to work. So if I start overloading now, I'm going to put the front lot. Now that should be going to the wet bin. If I do this, we go across to our corn, you'll see now that the one in white is loading. So that 240,000 litre wet bin is being filled up. Now there's no option on console. We can't put it through a grain dryer. We can't transfer it to other bins. It either gets stored in there and taken out of there, or it gets stored elsewhere. There's not any other way of doing that. So that first 30,000 litres is going to there. I do need to wait for that to turn off, I think. If I press that now, oh, maybe I can do this one as well. Right, so that's kind of turned off now. So if I access R1 again, I'm now going to load the dry silo by pressing triangle. So what I'm going to do is hop in. I'm going to change to tip side back. Please work. There we go. So now I start overloading, and I've switched now. This isn't going into the wet bin, this is going into the dry bin. Again, we look there, and as you can see, the one above in orange is going into the much larger bin. So it's just the difference between the two bins. And then when you want to take them out, I was going to say it's a reversal of that. That's not quite true. We'll count that in just a second. So that's kind of how you operate those two, which is great. If I press it again, when it says unload, which is still operating at the moment. So unload wet silo. And if I want to unload the dry silo, so unload the wet silo is done from here. That pipe there, and that will unload from that wet silo. So if I want to unload wet silo, that's where I do it from. If I want to unload the dry silo, which is the one I put into the second time, that is actually done from around here. I need to activate it from the control panel, but I have to take it out from this auger here. I know it's complicated, I know it's confusing, but they've tried to make it a bit more like how the actual grain bin setup works in real life. That course play mode thing has got me really baffled. I'm not too sure about that. So anyway, we'll simulate that one just to make it work. So unload from the dry silo. There we go, east, unload. If I go to here now, you'll see there's no option. If I press L3, okay. What is happening? Maybe you can do it from both then. That's weird. See here? Oh yeah, you can do it. You can do it from both then. It just gives you the option. Oh, that's all right, but you can do it for both. So it just depends which silo you want to unload from. I will leave that unloading. That's, I know it's complicated, I know it's confusing. Have a fiddle around with it. I mean, to be honest with you, it's fairly straightforward. Once you start, looking at the controls and you understand where the stuff's going to, it's not too bad to get your head around. But if you do come up to this pit and it's not giving you the option to unload, it's because you have to access this panel. You have to do it from this panel. Once you do load, it will allow you then to tip into these pits. If you don't, it won't. It's pretty much that. Right, pick up, let's whiz round. Now, there are some bits on this map where they've used Zach's voice. I'm not going to get all of them. I know I'm not. I'm going to miss some. So what we're going to do is we're going to head south first. Now, like I said, if you saw the map tour of this originally, most of this hasn't changed. There have been a few tweaks here and there. I think the BGA is different. Fields are absolutely massive. But we come to the pig farm first of all, and there's, like I say, there's a lot of modded stuff here, and if you remove this, this isn't showing us an option to buy back. But the detail on putting on the mods and stuff and the layout here is amazing. With the American style house, and barns. We've got our manure pit, we've got our slurry pit, we've got our straw trigger, we've got feed and water troughs, and then round the side you've got your animal dialogue box. It just fits really nicely, it looks great. Now, because obviously at the main farm, looking around the buildings, looking at the main workshop, and then going through what the silo does took up a bit of time, and I'm not going to race through the rest of this, but a lot of the stuff is spread out quite a long way. What we're going to do is whiz out here. So what I'll do, I'll cut a couple of bits, but I'll show you where we are on the map. But like I said, the detail is great. There's a bit out here. It's just little kind of Easter egg type things that have been thrown in. Like I say, I'm not going to catch all of them. I know that I'm trying to think on the original. I'm sure there were about 3, 4, maybe even 5. I'll stop talking because.
Well, it looks like the grill is still here.
So from here, we're going to head out to the biogas plant. Which, from where we are, we come from here, down there, we come all the way along to the end here. We did the pig farm, we've had a look around there. We're now going to cut right the way across down here to the biogas plant. I'll see you there in a moment. So, coming up on the biogas plant, like I already said, to buy this separately is about 405,000, I think I said, didn't I? Now, there are no silage clamps here, but with this purchased, there's your digestate, so your byproducts where you get it from there. What you put into the biogas plant is done here. I'm sure there were lights in here. There we go. So it's a tip-in tank, so you can do it from a belly dump or whatever you've got, which is great. Now, the difference between this, and we do start with it, which is rather handy, is this isn't a standard biogas plant in that. If we go to our menu and go across, we look at biogas plant and scroll across, it does potatoes and it does sugar beet. If we keep going over, it will do silage, but it does grass, hay and straw, and it does manure and it does slurry. A lot of them do slurry and manure. Most do all do silage, of course they do. Some will do hay, some will do straw, but they don't always do grass. So the fact this one does grass as well, you can make a bit of money from cutting grass and bringing it here if you wanted to. I think this is one of the ones. Is it by Castor? I'm trying to think. Was Castor? Oh, there you go, Castor Inc. Yes. So from here, what we're going to do is head from the biogas plant across the bottom. There's something I want to show you there. Then we're going to whiz up the sides here and we're going to come up to the sell points and stuff here and some of the livestock triggers. Again, just to be wary, the sheep pen is available to replace. The horse pen is, but the cow one isn't. I'm not sure why. I don't know why it's not available. But yeah, just be warned, if you remove that, you might have to put a different one in. Yeah, right, so let's go from there. If you don't watch the Millennial Farmer, you're not subscribed to his channel, I honestly would urge you to. Zach Johnson is incredibly funny guy. You know, there are things, like with any YouTuber, like with any channel, there are kind of, I say, jokes that kind of follow through as you watch more and more and more. Certain things he says, phrases he says, you know, that I suppose do become catchphrases. And yeah, it's a great watch. Fascinating stuff. So, yeah, I need to jump out here because this is one of them.
Hey, you okay?
I would imagine from that accent, probably not. Now, I'm pretty sure on the original version of this, those little sound bites that are around the map as Easter eggs, Somebody had, I'm sort of sure someone messaged me originally and said, oh, you missed the one that's on the island in the middle of the lake. I've never been able to get to the middle of the lake, or to the island. I don't know if it was removed or there never was one, I don't know, but I never found it. So, next set of sell points we come to. We do have a silo here, but it's not showing, which is odd. We've got CCA bales and we've got grain buyer, which are two of the sell points. But we've got this one here. I'm not quite sure. I don't know whether that is that separate silo that's showing that we own, but it's not showing on the map as one we own, because I think the bales point here is this one. I think, unless that's just there for show. Although that does say CCA bales. Yeah, it's a bit of a puzzling one, this. Because if we go back into this menu, no, that menu, and we go to our garage, if we go across a little bit, that one there says storage silo 100,000 litres, and I'm wondering if that's that, but it's not showing as a storage silo on the map. It does also explain the difference. There is a discrepancy between the capacity of the main farm silo, the capacity of the wet bin, that seems to be short over there compared to what it's telling me we have as capacity up here. So the capacity there at the top is saying, is that 9,050,000 litres, isn't it? And then 240,000. But the main grain bin says 8 million and something, so I think that's a 100,000 litre silo. I think that's the missing silo, and then we've got the grain buyer sell point just there. Next, we have got bunker silos, both over there, silage clamps. And then we're going to go to just a quick whiz around the livestock area over here. So we have the horses to the left. Triggers are all fairly clear, as are the manure pits and those kind of things. If we turn left down this one, takes us to the sheep. Now the capacities, like I've said, if you go into what you start with, the capacities are all shown on here. Sheep pens in here. Wool pallets spawn over there. Then your cow pasture is across here, with feed, water troughs, dialogue box, straw for bedding, and then your milk slurry manure pits are just over here. Back up and out, and just over there we've got another cell point. I think it's just one, isn't it? Yeah. So we've got Becky's Creamery. Becky is Zach Johnson's wife. Over the back we've got a sell point there for Becky's Creamery. If we go into this menu again, that's the dairy sell point. Go across, there we go. Eggs and milk. Now, continuing north, we come to some of the roadworks. Now this was something I was curious about, because this was something that was added in, not this was here originally, but what I mean is the ability to remove, and that's what I was curious about, because I haven't done it yet. So if I go to garage and we scroll across, we've got all these bits here. So you've got this one here, roadworks decoration, swamp decoration. So if you're not bothered about those things, so what I thought we'll do is we'll remove that and see what happens on the map. That's what happens. So the hole is still left, but all the stuff that goes with it. So if you're not bothered about that, and for you, if it's taking up slots you're not bothered about, you're not going to use it for a narrative or anything like that, you can remove. Now, can that be landscaped? I don't know. I haven't tried that So that may be an issue if you don't want to have a huge sort of ditch by the side of the road, but it is removable if you want to remove it, as are some of the other decorative objects, but that is entirely your choice. So we are now in the very northwest corner of the map. Just some more sell points. We've got a fuel point. Bob's vehicle repairs. We've got the spinnery up here with one of the forklift trucks that we start with is just there. That is there because the actual sell point bit is up on here. So you may actually need those to sell stuff. I mean, you may be able to get up close enough that the trigger will work anyway, but there is a forklift truck there should you require it. Then we come through to Hilltop Lumber, which is the sawmill sell point. Lumber point is there, and the trigger being just up there on the ramp, and then the wood chips are around the side. That huge pile just over there. So what we're going to do now is head across the top of the map, and this takes us to, as far as I can tell, apart from a few bits and bobs, you know, that have been adjusted, where most of the changes occurred between the previous versions that I've encountered and this one. So let's go back to the map. So we've come from here, CCA Bells, we did all the livestock bits here, and Becky's Creamery at the dairy, come all the way up here, past the roadworks, spinnery, sawmill. We're now going to head across the top of the map to this top corner where all of this is going on and where things get a little bit different. So at this point here, we've got a crossroads. Now all the way around the rest of the map, out the map edge, which is where we are now, it kind of goes off into the distance. Now I know a lot of people complain about map edges and sometimes it's a little bit blurry and the texturing is not as good and that kind of thing. Weirdly here, we can go off the map edge. We're going to get to that in a minute. We are going to carry along here because there are some more sell points up here, but as you can see off to the left, there's a whole lot of stuff going on there, which according to the map at the bottom left hand corner, we are at the top of the map. We're at the map edge. And what Mappers Paradise, the subby, did initially was to simulate travelling to the sell points, going to Lowry, going to Midwest Machinery, that kind of thing, was you kind of went off the map edge to do it. Now, like I say, the detailing and stuff, texturing isn't as perfect, great, I don't know, as it is on the rest of the map, but it's interesting that you can go off the map edge. Now, we are going to go to a few sell points here. This one's an interesting one. I need to be quiet for a moment because I almost missed it the first time through here. The Old Lady Egg Farm. Now, this is for chickens.
Careful about going into this place. She built it on an old graveyard so that she could be closer to her dead husband. Yeah.
So the old lady built her chicken farm on top of an old graveyard so she could be closer to her dead husband. Bit dark, but what's interesting about this is we've got our livestock trigger just there. Feed trigger, where's the feed trigger on this one? That's an interesting point. Oh, maybe it is this bit here. If I go up to and press circle now. Oh, dearie me. That goes down automatically when it's finished with. I think that is the feed trigger. Although where the egg boxes spawn, I'm not too sure. I don't think that opens. Oh, it does. There we go. It's crazy stuff. Let's close that. Next up from here, we've got the livestock market. So livestock market is interesting as well. It's a little bit different. come back to pick up in just a second, because we do have a trigger here for livestock. He says, why is the trigger not working for the livestock? Okay, that's interesting. Wonder why that is. Open doors to load. I would do. Oh. There we go. Open the doors if you want to load. So if you want to do your pigs and chickens, here. Although it does give you the option for horse and all the rest of it. But this is kind of to simulate the fact that you're going to go to each individual pen to collect your animals. You don't have to. At least I don't think you have to, because it comes up with all the options there. You should be able to do them all from one, but it may be set up that you can only do those particular ones. But as we drive through, there are different pens for all the animals, so you can come and collect your animals from specific pens if you want to. I think that's a nice touch for a kind of a storytelling kind of way. If you want to do horses, gates are automatic. I didn't press anything there. If we go across this one, we've got cows. Again, gate automatic. It adds as kind of another dimension to it all. And then the sheep are a bit further round. We kind of just went past those, but they're a bit further up. So that's the livestock market. And the sheep are just there. Now, as you can see, we're right at the map edge, according to the bottom map. What we can do from here is actually, technically, drive off the map. Now, it's not showing the bottom left that we have come off the map, but we really have. So we're heading into town. That's what it's supposed to be kind of showing you, simulating. Midwest Machinery, just here. Now, this was released as a separate mod a while back. Coming to Midwest Machinery. Our trigger point is just here. So for buying anything you want to buy, you can do it from here. And then your collection of your vehicles is done through here. Doors do open and close, and this is where the telehandler with an attachment that appears to be in the wall and the other forklift truck are, and this is where you've got, although that's not picking up, where is it? Over here. If you want to do repair, customization or selling, that can be done here. There you go, repair and upgrade. This is all accessed through larger doors. Where's the trigger? There we go. Big doors, loads of space. You can get big machinery in and out from around here. So that's Midwest Machinery. Then we've got Lowry. I want to get it right. Yeah, Lowry CHS. Clock Seeds and DeRoot we're going to go to in just a second. JR Clock, great guy. I think it was great that Mappers Paradise, the subby, put the Clock Family Seed Company on here. Just a nice touch. It's something nice to add. We can drive a little bit further out, although, you know, it's not necessary. You don't need to, but this is all off the map. We are way off. I haven't seen any trains go across there. That's not to say they don't, but I haven't encountered any. But the Lowry seed, or the Lowry sell point, is up here. Then from here we come across to Clock Brothers Seed, Lowry, Minnesota. these to open. Now initially these were all kind of clustered in and around over there, and it didn't quite work. I think there were some issues with how it kind of converted over. So this has all been redone. This was, from what I can make out, this top northeast corner of the map is where all the most changes are to this version. And then we got Deroute, which is just over here, which is the last of the sell points. Oh yeah, that only worked with a vehicle. This is a root crop. No, it does say storage and distribution, but as far as I can tell, it's just a sell point. I haven't come across a point for storage, but to sell, we need to open that up. And put into there. Because if we come to this menu, we go across one, go to Deroute, it will take sugarcane, sugar beet, and potatoes. Yeah, pretty sure there's not a storage point. Unless I've missed it, which is possible, but no, pretty sure it is. Because you put it all into there and then it'll put it into the relevant places, or it should sell them. And that, bearing in mind we're up here now, plus we're actually kind of off the edge somewhere along here, is pretty much all the sell points, I think. What we will do, and you'll see, we're going to leave clock seeds, which is showing us here, but we're actually kind of over here more. We're going to come back onto the map edge here, which will take us back down towards the main farm. And that's pretty much all of it covered. Now, yeah, slot count is high. There's no taking away from that. You can get that slot count down, but as I said right at the start, that does come with a warning and a proviso. You need to be a little bit careful of that. I know people will make it work. I know people have and do play on high slot count maps and love it. Some people won't. And again, I always say when I do the map tours, that's everyone's personal choice. It may well be that you would love to play on the map, but the slot count for you personally is just too high. It may be that you're so desperate to play on the map you'll overlook that and have a go, or you may just decide, you know what, it's just not for me, and that is entirely your choice. But I'm glad to see it back. Hopefully, fingers crossed, it's not going to get removed for any reason again. I know a lot of people have been asking for a while, when's it coming, and as far as I was aware, it wasn't going to, so it's nice to see this happen. It's great. So from Mapper's Paradise, the subby, the Millennial Farmer map is back. I hope you found this useful and informative in some way, shape or form. If you have, give us a like. If you don't subscribe yet, please do. If you want to leave a comment, feel free. And if you want to share this video, then please be my guest. Whatever you should choose to do. Thanks for watching.